Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Mad Mumluk's podcast. My name is Sim. Along with me are my co-hosts Mort and Sheikh Amr El Baghdadi. El Baghdadi.
I'm here.
LD Baghdadi is your name.
Assalamu alaikum, y'all.
El Boogie Daddy.
How's everyone doing? Let's just make sure we're live more while I'm talking. Sheikh Amr.
Yeah, let me check.
You just keep checking while I talk to Sheikh Amr, okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's do that.
Make it happen, brothers.
Sheikh Amr.
Yes, sir.
There's some people
Shit,
who like you.
Mm-hmm.
And
we're good.
they sent us in honor of your dilemmas related to...
You're joking. I saw that on the table. I'm like, what is that?
They sent you a little present.
Oh, my God. Do I have to wear that?
You do have to wear it.
No. What? Dude, my daughter is going to love that for herself. I don't know about me, bro.
This is for you, bro.
You need a fanny pack, dude. You keep dropping your wallet.
Okay.
Well, if the fans send you something,
If
you
it's a
have to...
gift, if it's a gift.
Wait,
It
is
wasn't
that
a
white
gift
or
for your
pink?
daughter. It
I
was,
know.
it was a
Okay.
gift for you.
Jazakallah khairan. Do you know who it was? Do they
was,
want to be announced?
I think we can say his name, Shafat from Australia, bro.
Shafat,
We love you.
Jazakallah khairan. Shafat, because it's a gift, I'm only going to wear it once. But I'm not going to lie. I'm probably going to wear it in a remote area in the
Why don't you
dark.
show it to the camera?
Well, I don't know where
Look
the
up,
camera is.
look in front of you. There's...
Right here. There we go.
Show your
Wow.
love, man. Don't be ungrateful.
Look at this.
Astaghfirullah.
What if I wear it on my face like this?
So
Are you
for,
being
the,
ungrateful?
for anyone who's listening
No, I'm
to
not
this
being
and not...
ungrateful. I think it's beautiful. Thank you, Shafat. Jazakallah khairan. May Allah reward you, bro.
It's a pink fanny pack for those who are listening
no,
on
it's
audio.
not just pink, bro. It's
like a-
pink and shiny, and it's got this reflective... MashaAllah, bro. Thanks, dude.
MashaAllah,
I hope you didn't
tabarakallah.
spend too much money on this, bro, because I'm probably just going to wear it once. But I'm going to keep it forever as a memory, in the token.
When you make Hajj, you should put it on.
I'm definitely going to do that, bro.
We can spot you in
They're
the
probably
crowd
going to put me...
with your
The Saudis are probably going to put me on the Had grounds, bro. They're going to put the Had on me, dude.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Thank you, whoever you are.
MashaAllah. He said it was Shafat, bro.
Yeah, Shafat. Okay, so
Shafat, we're going to have a side,
All right.
side conversation. Me and Shafat, bro.
that was Shafat just messing with you. This is your actual gift.
Ooh, MashaAllah. What is that? Is that the
Here you
thing that
go.
you sit on? So you...
I don't know, tear it open. I didn't have a chance to open it.
Wow, let me see. Let's see if we can get this in the camera. Wow, Jazakallah khairan, Shafat.
Is that a man purse?
Oh, it's like a messenger bag. It's a laptop bag.
We figured that you might. We can't sort out your wallet dilemmas, but we can get you
Ooh,
because
this
you
is
just
a
got a new
nice
laptop and
Solo, New York.
And,
MashaAllah.
Oh,
we
you got a
wanted
new
you to-
laptop. I didn't know that.
He got a new laptop and he got some new things that he could fill up his laptop bag with. So
Wow, MashaAllah. This is
what
nice.
we did was we wanted to make sure
Wow.
that he has something that he will not be able to lose. And it's genuine, high quality leather. This is not cheap stuff, folks. This is something that
This is really nice quality. MashaAllah.
you just feel that leather.
Mashallah.
Feel that leather, bro.
It's very soft.
It's fantastic.
Feel the leather. Feel
I
it.
did. MashaAllah.
You feeling it?
Yes. What's Shafat? Thank you, man.
if
Everyone keep Shafat in your du'as, please.
if
This
Medina University didn't reject me, I would have been getting these gifts.
Oh, you got rejected?
Yeah, bro.
He-
Did you
he's
not know the story about me going to all the
Oh,
way to Bridgeview where the Medina University recruiters came?
I remember
It was
that.
around
Late
wow.
19.
I think me and Amr went.
I
and,
didn't go with you. I remember.
Amr
you
like
going there.
rejected them because he wanted to go to Azhar and
That's not what
Mauritania.
happened, but 19.
Yeah,
like-
I got accepted, but I didn't go though.
Shut up, Mort. You didn't get accepted.
Wallahi, I did. I sent in the application.
They only accepted white people back then. White
Well,
privilege.
Hey,
White
you
and
must
black
have been,
and Latino.
they must have thought I
Anything
was-
but the Hindi people.
They must have thought I was black.
No, bro, you weren't.
They
And-
must have thought I was black.
Bro, it was such a humiliating experience because like I had like most of Juz Amma memorized and I'm like they're asking me how much Quran did you memorize and I'm like I got this many and then
I actually lied about that.
and
Lied about the Quran. Good one.
So-
I figured I'd memorize it by the time I got there.
so they're like they're like they kind of grinned as if like a buffoon just came in front of them wanting to and they asked about like how much Arabic and you told them a few words like the tufaha and stuff like that, you know, that you learn. Siyara and
Siyara.
they were like kind of giggling.
Did you walk up there and be like, "Hey, ya khayye, I know Arab."
They didn't want comedians. They wanted serious people.
Yeah, but you know, one thing that you
Mashallah,
listeners
I
don't
like this
know, and
bag,
so this
dude.
is a kind of a personal episode, intimate, in-depth kind of episode. Sim is, whenever he speaks Arabic, it's comical. Like he doesn't intend. I don't know if he intentionally does it,
He does it intentionally.
but it just comes out that way.
Actually,
And his
sometimes
voice-
he's serious, but we think
No,
he's joking.
and his voice changes and his demeanor changes. For example, like he'll be like, "Wallah, bro,
Yeah.
wallah."
No. What happens is he drops his mouth.
What happened
He
to
puts
your
his
voice?
eyebrows up. All of a sudden, his whole composure changes. And then you know how in Urdu you say nak pulana? He flexes his nose.
Oh crap!
And then he starts talking.
Yeah, and so
He drops his
I
shoulders,
imagine
too.
you like telling these people that you're like, "Yeah, brother, I know." Tufata. I know.
Tufata. Tufata. More, you're such a troll.
And you know why?
dude.
The only reason why he knows tufah is because of shisha. That's the reason why he knows tufahtain. That's he used to know al-fakhr tufahtain. That's why. But anyways, funny
Al-Fakhr.
story.
That was the best brand, man. That was the best brand. I don't do this anymore, ya shabab. Don't
Yeah, Shabab. Yeah, Shabab. I don't think it's
Don't-
Yeah, Shabab.
don't think your fearless revolutionary leader is. I'll get to that joke later.
Yeah.
Shabab.
Oh, wow.
I'm not into the Al-Gila game anymore. I have other vices that I've moved on to, and I've learned a lot less Quran. I don't know much of the Juzama anymore. I know maybe 12 or so surahs. That's a joke, Sheikh Amr. Stop acting like you're
I'm not,
disappointed
bro.
in me.
I'm not disappointed in you, bro.
You know, when you're raised,
You
you
my
get
bro, man.
You get raised. If you're missing Quran, you have like holes in your soul. Did you know about that?
No, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
Say wallah.
Wallah, I never heard of holes in yourself.
That's what some sheikh told me.
I don't know.
If you forget the Quran, you get raised with some holes in your soul
Hmm.
on the
Really?
last day.
Is that something like you heard that is authentic, or you just
Some-
kind of someone scared you with that?
Maybe he was scaring me. I don't know. Maybe it was that Medina guy.
You mean the black one that showed up to your house
No, that was.
when you were a kid?
I'm talking about the Medina University guy, bro.
Oh, okay.
Why are you bringing race into this?
No, you told me you were afraid of a black guy that knocked on your door. When you
That
were
was
5
when I
years
was
old.
5 years old. That was
Yeah,
the
so I
previous
thought maybe that was
episode.
the
We
guy that
moved on
scared
to
you.
the next episode.
I thought maybe he popped up and was like, "You better not forget your Quran, or you'll have a hole in your soul," and then you just freaked out.
So before the show started, and I was kind of panicking because I had this shirt on and it had the American flag on my shoulder, and I thought the Shabab would be watching from the UK, and they'd be like, "This guy, he sold out." So I had to quickly change out.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
They don't mess around, bro. They cancel you real quick. Did you hear about the cancel culture?
Yeah, of course.
Sheikh Umar Suleiman, he tweeted it out. It was a tweet that was shot around the world. Don't cancel anyone.
Really?
No, that's not what he said. He said
How
God doesn't
convenient.
cancel people.
Mm.
I want
Yeah.
to reply back, but I sure as hell do.
But God does cancel people. Like God, I mean, people that that reject His message, He cancels them right out into the hellfire. Actually,
Well, that's after you die.
well, there's
That's
some
after
people in
the-
this life that no, there's some people in this life that are canceled out because of the crime, the sins they do.
No, everything's
Abu Lahab
repentable.
was canceled out in this life.
Unless you do shirk, everything is forgivable, Yahi.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
but that's still a
What's
cancel
wrong?
out.
Why are you changing the
Yeah,
rules?
Yeah.
I'm not changing the rules. I'm saying that you can, if you commit shirk billah and you die in that, and you believe that, you're canceled out.
Listen,
That's not what Sheikh Umar Suleiman meant, all right? More.
I'm not
Don't-
saying that, but I'm
Jeez.
just saying.
why are you
You
trying?
have to
He was probably one of those people who started a big fuss over his tweet because everyone got
Look, I'll
got
be
really
honest.
upset about Sheikh Umar Suleiman's tweet, and I'm really upset about it. I'm here to defend him.
Oh, but to be honest, I don't even follow him, so I don't know what he said.
You don't
I
follow
don't find
him?
him particularly interesting. No.
Why not?
I mean, he doesn't follow his tweets. And
I don't follow him. I just don't follow his tweets. I don't find him particularly interesting.
Why not?
He's just not interesting to me.
He's Ahlul America.
Ahl al-ilm. Yeah, but
I thought
so-
someone was gonna say he's Ahlul Bayt.
I was supposed to say
Yeah.
Ahl Medina, but that's
Did he call him Ahlul
my-
Bayt? Is that what he just
I
called
thought
him?
he was gonna say that because he stopped for a second.
He would be related to you then. If that was the case.
Anyway.
No, but
That's,
The
he's,
thing is,
he's
listen,
someone
listen.
very close to my heart, and I don't want you to say anything like that again. More.
okay, sure. I'm sorry, but anyways, listen. You know what? I'll be honest. I don't follow a lot of people. I follow people that are entertaining. Like I'd rather follow Guz Khan than Umar Suleiman.
What's is your heart poisoned?
No, I'm being dead. I follow him, and I don't follow Umar Suleiman.
Gus
I think
Khan
he's
is
more
he like he's a
entertaining to me.
funny guy, but you should always listen to the shit Mashayikh and everything. You
That's
should
not
always
what Morty's
encourage.
saying.
Yeah,
That's
but
not what
I
Morty's
just don't
saying.
like. I mean, I just
Maybe
don't like
you
what he
don't, but you
advertised.
should encourage the youth out there who are in the chat and everything. They're looking up to Mort and seeing who does Mort follow, and maybe I'll follow him too. And but now you're telling him Guz Khan, who's a
Yeah,
comedian
I
from
follow
UK.
him. I follow them because Shabab was following them too. That's why I got put on by Guz Khan.
I don't know what's.
I
Mort,
follow
you're-
Sheikh Amr. If
So
you guys
who's
need to
this-
know, I
who's
just
this
follow
Guz
him on
Khan?
Twitter. That's
Guz
all
Khan
I need.
is a man like Mubin. He's a comedian. He's the one who did the show we were watching. Remember I was telling you how the Rami show
Oh,
was
yes,
horrible,
yes,
but
yes, yes,
Guz
yes.
Khan did such a fantastic job with
Yes, I remember you telling me about that. Okay.
with
Hey, listen. Sim, are you okay? I heard there was a crazy event by your house today where like this guy drove into the mall.
Yeah,
with
Oh, there's a
shootout.
Woodfield.
What happened to
You're
that?
not, how far you're not?
it's
You're
about-
far from Woodfield, right?
About 10, 15 minutes. It's so anyway. There's it wasn't a mass shooting or anything, but it was
No,
it looked like it was a man who took his SUV and he just started. He plowed through the front doors of the mall and then he was driving around the mall, scaring everyone.
Crashing into the
Crashing
store.
into everything.
Apparently he was involved in a police chase and it ended up there.
Oh, maybe we could put it up because I have it on WhatsApp.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. Let's see if I could do that.
But apparently the event started before it got to Woodfield Mall, and then it ended there. But I guess in the attempt to escape the police officers, he actually decided to run into the mall with his car. And the idiot is a horrible driver. He couldn't navigate around like the kiosk and stuff, and so he was just. It looked like I'd seen in Austin Powers where he was stuck and he was trying. You know how in the middle of the hallway where he's like going forward and back, and he's trying to do a U-turn. It looked kind of like that. Yeah, but it's kind of funny.
Hang on one second. I got it. I think I got it at least. Hang on. Here we go.
Yeah.
Hang on. Hey, hang on. They're watching, bro. Hang on.
Oh, they are.
I think he cannot is famous.
Oh, that's him getting arrested. Oh, let's see. Here.
Yo, this is not happening right
Oh, here.
now. What the fuck?
Oh, these are some bad words, guys.
What
Cover
the
your ear.
fuck?
Cover your ears.
Cut it. Just cut it. The whole thing is full of swearing.
Yeah. I'm just gonna mute it. Sorry, folks. Hoping your kids weren't watching. Your kids shouldn't be watching the Madman books anyway.
Yeah, you
This
don't
is for
Call them
grown-ups.
that. No, your kids should be watching the Madman looks.
What are you talking about?
Unless, no.
You're a corrupt sheikh.
No, just let them watch.
Scholar for $1.
Scholar for $1. I wish I
Oh
had
wow,
dollars.
we have someone. I'm sorry, we have someone in the text who's saying that UK Muslims are generally better. I mean, Majid Nawaz.
No, mashallah, they are much stronger, dude. You have to admit it. You have to give credit where it's due. You know what? They're not. They have a much more like ghira. You know what? Passion.
Yeah.
They have sentiment. Like the stuff that flies over here doesn't really go too well over there. It's just different
Well, that's
realities.
because the cops don't carry guns. That's because their population isn't armed either, right? I guarantee you, if you found a bunch of massive people who are willing to come out there and probably pop you for saying something, you're gonna watch your tongue, right? I mean, it just happens, right? I mean, don't forget, America has 380 million guns in the country, right?
Yeah.
So you want to be a little careful of who you're trying to tick off, right? There's a totally different dynamics there.
Yeah. So, Sheikh Amr, your folks in Egypt, they're pretty upset.
Yeah, man. Third revolution.
Is this the third? What was the first
This
one?
is third. The first one was ousting Hosni Mubarak. The second was protesting the
Morsi.
ousting of Morsi, and this is the third one.
How many revolutions? These guys
This
think
is
it's a
third.
game or something?
No,
What's
man.
going on?
It's not. It doesn't have anything to do about a game.
So Ahmed, to
they've
tell us,
been living in
what
poverty.
is this one about? Is this about like military
Ousting Sisi.
corruption, or what is the? I know, but what specifically about Sisi? Like,
So people have been living under the poverty line in Egypt for a long time. Just a few stories, and can I? Just
Yeah,
do
go
that?
ahead.
So one of my friends who visits Egypt every year, he told me that people are so poor that you have individuals that are starting to make contracts with hotels. They go and get all the food that they throw away at a hotel. They gather it up. And it's like, for instance, like all the cakes they gather in one area, they put it in this big, humongous container or cauldron thing, and then they go on the street and they scoop up a kilo and they sell that to people, you know? And same thing with food that's thrown away, because now the $1 I think is 17. It's fluctuating between 17 and 18 Jinns, if I'm not mistaken. When I was there, it was 6.8. $1 was 6.8 Jinns.
Wow.
Yeah. And everything's gone up. I know that when I was there, 1 kilo of beef was it fluctuated between 35 and 40 Jinns. I think beef now is like 150 maybe Jinns or something like that, 120 to 150. And if anyone in the comments knows or they've been to Egypt recently, you guys can please make that correction. Lamb and is even more expensive, and sugar and rice is super expensive for people. So people, they're eating the crushed stuff that's on the bottom of the bags. People are actually selling that type of rice to people for even an elevated price. So that being said, people are living in poverty, and all of a sudden this guy named Muhammad Ali, who's known as a whistleblower now, he was a contractor for the military and for Egypt for the president. He goes to Spain, and then he starts talking about all the contracts and all the money that Sisi was spending on himself, because the military owed him like $13.3 million and they didn't pay him, and he started getting a little weird about what was happening.
But wasn't he kind of benefiting from more?
Of course he was. Of course he was. But so this is the thing. This is what I heard.
Yeah.
This is what I heard from boots on the ground, is that he has some of the people from the Mukhabarat that are with him that want Sisi to leave. There's some people from the army that are going to be on his side too. This Muhammad Ali guy. That's the only reason why he's doing this, with immunity. He's going to be fine. And he has a lot of people backing him up, and they're telling him what to say and what not to say. But he basically, he was even an actor for a little while, because he was a really popular guy. So he's an actor because of his contracting company. But anyway, he was talking about how Sisi's wife, just to redo bathrooms in one of their mansions, she spent $25 million, right? One of the houses that he built that's on the outskirts of Cairo, I think he spent like $250 million, or 250 million Jinns dollars, I can't remember. And then he built a hotel, areas where nobody is. So the dilemma that happens now is he's investing tons and tons of money in Sinai, right? Last year he spent, I think, like $100 million investing on Sinai. Next year he's planning on spending like $318 million or something on Sinai. And there's theories of why that's there. Some people are saying that he's preparing the ground for the Palestinians to move over there, because they're trying to make contracts with Israel to have all the Palestinians move in Sinai. I don't know, Allahu Alam, how true that is. Maybe you know more about that. And he wants to make it and the people who are investing in Sinai are Saudis, Kuwaitis, people from the Emirates, and there's a lot of money being invested there.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to make they're trying to open a Disney World there too. All the people are starving, and Sisi is responsible, obviously, for all these contracts that he's making for tourism.
So he's trying to generate tourism
But in that process, he spent a lot on himself.
Yeah.
So he was asked, you can watch it on Jazeera, right, why are you spending on yourself so much? He's like, no, this is for the people. It's not for me. So like the reply was, well, like everyone's going to take turns like living in your house. All 100 million Egyptians are going to come and live in your house. And obviously it's a bunch of BS.
Yeah.
So Muhammad Ali blew the whistle on that. On YouTube, he's got like I think a 10-part video. We should have one of my friends on. I'm not going to mention his name right now.
Yeah.
But we should. He's got some awesome information. But nonetheless,
so your friends on the ground are saying, will this swell up to anything? Because right now the protest just started.
He told me 6 months ago that a protest can happen anytime soon, and now this is when he told me this last year. 6 months ago, my friend, and he's like, it can happen anytime now until within a year. It's just a boiling point. Some things are going to be uncovered. So the protest now is Muhammad Ali. He said yesterday, or a few days ago too, you know, on Al Jazeera has some videos of him too, saying that on Friday at 7 p.m. Egyptian time, everyone's going to come out. And his quotes were Muslims, Christians, liberals, brotherhood, you know, everybody. They should come out, and it should be all the way from political protesting and peaceful to dancing and music, just to let them know the spirit and lighten the spirit of the people, but let them know that Sisi has to step down.
Well, here's the thing.
Sisi's on his way to New York right now.
Sisi,
or he probably landed in New York now.
And
he encourages, sorry to cut you off,
Yeah.
he encouraged the army to get involved, because usually, this is another thing my friend was telling me, is anytime there's a protest, the army has to side with the people. The police usually side with the president and against the people. So what happened with the police is that Sisi set up a whole lot of infrastructure and money funding to the police, so the police are very loyal to him, because by constitution, the army has to side with the people if there's a protest.
Well, that's true, but that's gone out the window after we saw what happened with the Darabia massacre and everything.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. Whatever the case is, they have a right to protest. My concern is, man, how many more Muslims are going to get killed in this process?
How much of this do you think?
That's what I'm actually concerned about.
How much of this do you think has to do with maybe because this guy's a whistleblower, right?
Yeah.
And we know that Mohammed Morsi, his son, died recently too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unexpectedly. So I'm wondering if any of this is connected. That maybe they just got tired and said, hey, you know what? These guys are just flat out assassinating people now. And, you know, maybe it has something to do with that. But I'll tell you this much. What Sisi is developing in the Sinai is part of that greater project that's being funded by Saudi Arabia. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
They already admitted that it's being funded by Saudi Arabia. It's actually part of the NEOM project. And I don't know if you can play the link or not, Sim. I can send it to you. But it's about a 2-minute video, but you can see exactly what Saudi Arabia is trying to do. I don't know if you can get that link and play it or not. I'll paste it to you on your WhatsApp. But in any case, this is an idea that Saudi Arabia has in order to somehow bring in tourism. But the idea is that they're trying to create a separate city where it has its own bylaws and governance.
Yep.
Where pretty much the laws that are native for both of these countries don't apply in the so-called zone. But there's a deeper issue here.
Hang on, we'll go ahead and play it. We're gonna go ahead and play it.
All right.
I'm gonna make it full
screen. You can look at these ancient hills and see nothing. Or you can see nothing to hold you back. No set ways of thinking, no restrictions, no divisions, no excuses. Just endless potential. This is the blank page you need to write humanity's next chapter. NEOM. Over 25,000 square kilometers of inspiration.
Wow.
With room for your biggest ideas. A part of the world set aside for those who want to change the world. A land created to free people from stress.
There's not many Arabs in this.
Pioneers and thinkers and doers can exchange ideas and get things done. A startup the size of a country that will change the way we live and work forever. Healthier, happier, with more time for the things that really matter. A truly global culture from every place and background you can imagine that can show the rest of the planet how it's done.
So who's this initiative from?
With energy that flows from the sun and wind, neighborhoods that can feed and clean themselves.
Yeah, go ahead.
So essentially, what's happening is, you know that there were some islands that were originally in the possession of Egypt, right? Considered Egyptian territory that they handed over to Saudi Arabia, right? And the reason why these islands are strategic is because what happens is generally wherever there's land 10 miles beyond that, or I think 5 miles, means that is your coastal line. So in between, there was also another island that was Saudi Arabia that owned it, and it was over there next to that island. So basically, the waterway in between that is considered to be international waters, right? Because they're bordering each other. So that means that area could be sealed off by anybody. It's international waters. By giving this island to Saudi Arabia now contains that canal entering, the Gulf of Aqaba, or going in that area, is now owned by Saudi Arabia. And so now Israel looks to Saudi Arabia to essentially make sure that entrance stays open, right? And so what's happening is now, in light of that, what they're doing is they're going to say, listen, we're developing this port city here, this wonderful city, but the idea is now the Israelis will also be able to use this, right? Because it's in line with it, and that's why, in return for giving them this island, to Egypt giving it to them, they're going to develop the Sinai. Now, there's different ideas of why.
Wait, is this happening in Medina? Because you said like something about Aqaba. That's where the pledge happened, right? The pledge of Aqaba.
No, Bayat al-Ridwan.
What's Aqaba then?
Aqaba is in the Gulf of Aqaba. That's like in Jordan and Palestine.
Okay, so you completely threw me off. That's how my mind works. You said Aqaba, and I think about the Sira.
No.
Okay,
the
go
Gulf
on.
Of Aqaba. Yeah. So it's completely different. Okay. But anyways, so in order to take that control, now Saudi Arabia has full control of the entrance to that Gulf there. And so that means that they are obviously in bed with Israel. So the idea is that in order to compensate Egypt, they're going to develop the Sinai and extend this NEOM city, as you saw right here recently, where they're going to try to bring in expats, and they're going to try to bring in
expatriates. You mean
expats? No, like foreign workers,
right?
Patriot. Yeah, they don't care. They don't care about Saudis or Egyptians here. They care about foreigners coming who have money, that want to live up and party up, and like basically make it like the Western world. And essentially, that is a cover for the operations that Israel can then do with having complete access to the waterways, right? Without having to worry about international waters, because now they have an agreement with Saudi Arabia, right? When you're talking about international waters, that it's a gray area, right? It's restrictive. It becomes an issue of the world. Yeah. But when it's owned by Saudi Arabia, now you only have to deal with the Saudis, nobody else. You see how that works? Gotcha. So this is why it's a really important thing for them. So it's part of a big strategy. One of my relatives in Saudi Arabia was telling me about this, and they were saying, listen, this is all going to be a front. They're saying this is a big, wonderful city coming up, but it's not going to, you won't see any development for 30, 40 years.
Oh,
right
really?
now, yeah, this is all just a front to make it look like they're developing, they're putting all this money in there, but the real issue here is Israel. Their access to that Gulf and to the waterway, to the Red Sea, is what they were worried about. Just think about it. If it was international waters, and if it was Egypt or somebody else, anybody could have shut down that entrance from the Red Sea, and that would have been problematic for them, right? They can't, shipping lines, everything, right? So technically now, with it being in the hands of Saudi Arabia is an ally of America, so forth, and so there's a lot more pressure there to make sure that area is guarded and defended.
Yeah. Just a shout out to our friends on the live chat. Go ahead and send in your questions. We're happy to answer them, and we're
goofy questions, serious questions, whatever you
shout
want
out to my man Maliki Click. He's my boy.
Yeah,
we're real close friends. He's out from the let's just say west of the Rockies. Yeah. As my man, do you remember Art Bell and them?
Art Bell?
Did you ever listen to Coast to Coast at night?
No.
It had like the great UFO stories.
I've been coast to coast on a plane though.
You never listened to like talk radio at night, WLS?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Man, I don't know how we were friends. Anyway, it was great.
I don't know how we're friends. I asked myself that question too.
Coast to Coast with Art Bell, George Norrie. Man, these were like the best, like the Jinn stories before Jinn. It was like radio Jinn stories. That's what it was.
Never heard of it.
So they would like talk about like Jinn stories at night and all the way up into 3-4 a.m. in the morning, and you would.
No, man.
It wasn't just like ghost stories or alien stories,
Mysteries and stuff.
Yeah, it was like anything related.
I
to
used to like watching Alfred
Paranormal.
Hitchcock.
Not mysteries. We're not talking about mysteries. We're talking about like
Paranormal
supernatural thing,
activity.
paranormal stuff. This is way before X-Files was even a thing.
They didn't know about it. I wish you told me about it when we were younger.
So I know
No,
Maliki
you
Click
didn't
and
hang out with
Abu
me back then, so that was your fault. You hung out with popular kids.
No, not really.
No. You want?
No.
You
Sim,
did. You did. Morton, you guys used to hang out. You want to bring this up on the podcast? We can.
Popular kids?
You want to dig up old bones?
Popular kids?
Yeah, you want to dig up skeletons right now? We can do it.
Popular kids. Daisies are never popular anyway.
Amir was busy watching Captain Majid in Egypt, so he didn't listen to these American shows.
Captain Majid.
A Sanafir, right? Yeah. No, but you know what? I know Maliki Click by his other name. It's Kunya Abu Siham. That's how I know him.
Hey,
Wow.
you don't have to mention the brother's name now.
No, that's not his full name. It's just a
Well,
Kunya name.
don't do that.
He
Nobody knows
has
it.
the
You didn't
Arab
ask his
accent coming
permission.
in. He has an Arabic accent coming
Maybe
in.
the brother's shy. He doesn't want to be
No,
mentioned.
he's not shy.
Maybe he's
No
got a
one
record.
taller than You know him. He's not shy.
Be careful about this
Okay.
stuff.
Don't
Yeah,
become emotional. I think you're becoming emotional now. He's not. Don't worry. Don't tell
We
him.
have to ask permission.
Okay.
People get upset. Then they ask for like things to
Are we
get
worried about
edited
feelings
out.
now, Sim? Facts don't care about your feelings, Sim.
Yeah.
Anyway, forgive him, Yahi,
So-
brother.
So listen, hey, what is going on with this Area 51 stuff? People barging it or something. What do you know
didn't-
about that, Sim? Since you're talking about paranormal stuff.
Yeah, I heard
What
about
does it
that, but I
think
think they
about?
all chickened out, man. I don't think anyone
They're-
actually barged anywhere because the
But
military
why were they
warned
going to
them.
barge it? Because the Navy announced that there's actually real UFOs. Is that why they wanted to barge it?
I think it was, no. So they wanted to find out what the military is actually hiding.
So you missed it. No. Actually, the Navy came out and said yes. The photos, or the videos that some celebrity released are actually in fact true videos, and the Navy does acknowledge that there are unidentified flying objects that we can't recognize.
Yeah.
And so this is the first time the Navy has confirmed something like this.
yeah, but
So that prompted all these people to be like, "Oh crap! There's something at Area 51. Let's go there now. Storm it with the aliens, right?"
well,
And
so
then-
there's been a culture of trying to figure out what's actually happening on Area 51 for the past 20, 30 years. Not 20, 30. I want to say 60 years actually. Since 1970s, it's become increasingly popular, and everyone
it
wants to
kind
know.
of started with the whole
what's
MK
happening.
Ultra thing too, right? Remember?
There's
when
a whole lot of stuff. There's
Yeah, I mean,
just
there's a lot
so
of-
Is it
many
actually
different.
just like a...
Project MK Ultra is a psychological experiment.
Yeah, it was.
That different.
Well, they say that going back to the Unabomber, that he spent allegedly he spent time at Area 51 after he was after his college days when he was first part of this PSYOPs project, and he somehow was abducted. Abducted. Many people have claimed these things throughout the history, right? They've said that.
Selves.
I always thought it was a big joke, dude.
No, I mean there's definitely footage that was released by the Navy. Now I can show you some of that. It's
About them seeing that pill-sized UFO
Yeah,
thing.
so yeah. What I think they saw in my humble experience with delving into the sciences of the supernatural, I think they saw an ifrit, one of those big jinn that are that have the capacity to fly.
No,
They
but wait a
have the
minute,
ability to fly.
Amir,
Did you ever
wait,
see
so-
that Navy fighter? These are like
Yeah, I did,
official.
I did. And
Hang
so
on,
they
I'm going to
said
show it
it's-
to the listeners while you're talking.
Okay,
So
but
go ahead and
while
talk.
you do that, hold on. Yeah, while you do that, Ahmed, but from what I understand is from the naked eye, you can't see jinn in their natural form, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not even their natural form.
But that's not their form.
They probably...
No, I'm just saying.
They saw it as a
hold on.
capsule, just a rounded capsule flying, so it can be something like
Yeah,
that.
well, it would look like a spinner to me, to be honest, like one of those fidget spinners. It was just, but
fidget spinner.
but it was defined the way that
more-
gravity works
Okay.
and everything.
New
It
reports
was
fi-
definitely strange.
More, you're so cute sometimes.
All right, so I'm gonna. I don't know why.
The only way to make more chai is tell him he looks cute, guys.
All right, I'm showing the listeners now more.
Wow,
So just
People are
relax.
asking a lot of questions, bro. 2020 lucky.
Yeah, my man Maliki, he had
Objects in our
a Jinn
airspace.
story that went viral. So look,
The New York Times speaking with 5 Navy pilots who've all said they've encountered UFOs during training missions up and down the East Coast. The pilots even noting that the objects were accelerating to hypersonic speed, making sudden stops and instantaneous turns, something beyond the physical limits of a human crew.
Clearly, this is nothing that we're used to seeing out there. We submitted a safety report saying that there was an unidentified object in our working space. and we don't know what to do.
This on the eve of a new History Channel series called Unidentified: Inside America's UFO Investigation.
The object then appears to accelerate rapidly.
The show chronicles a year-long investigation that includes former military intelligence officials speaking out on numerous reported encounters.
We trust the American people to know that there are certain countries that have nuclear warheads, and yet we don't trust the American people to know that there's something in our airspace that we don't know what it is.
Overnight, the Navy telling us that in recent years, there's been a number of reports of unauthorized and or unidentified aircraft in our airspace, and therefore, they've implemented new steps to report further possible incidents.
There's many such videos like that. That's just one of many videos that the Navy's released related to objects that they cannot identify that are moving in ways that no military jet in the world has the ability to move in.
Yeah, I saw. I just turned corners.
They defy physics, to be honest, which is what it is.
So there's a few different explanations. Either it's everyone is hallucinating, right? That's a possibility. I think it's a very rare possibility that
like
could
your
be.
deductionism
But
here.
Another option is that it's aliens, right? Third possibility is that it's a weapons program that another military or another government has that has exceeded all scientific understanding that we or the United States understands related to science, and it's just ability to defy all physics. Okay, so that's a possibility. Or it's a Jinn. And my inclination is that the United States is far and away the most advanced in the area of the sciences, physics, and rocket propulsion, and all those technologies that are related to flying objects, right? And their ability to navigate the world. I don't think any other country has that ability. So, which is why I am more inclined to believe either it's genuinely a celestial creature from another world, which doesn't really make sense to me because they would have tried to contact us. From our faith and tradition, I think we have a more logical explanation for Muslims who want to understand some of these events that happen that people have no explanation for. We have these things called the Jinn who have many different types of abilities. They have very different, each of them have different characteristics, and you can't, that in itself is a science. And so in order to figure this stuff out, I think what we have to understand is sometimes you just, instead of writing things off as hallucinations, you as a Muslim can just say, hey, it could be the Jinn. I don't know how you feel about that.
Know. Yeah. And that's totally fine to say that.
Yeah, whatever it is.
We don't know for sure, but we can say, hey, that's one of the possibilities.
Yeah, I mean,
it's one of the possibilities.
I mean, whatever it is, I ain't afraid of it.
My man,
whatever is, I ain't afraid of it. Mort, you're so cute, I swear.
So, hey, if Maliki Click, if you are in the chat, can I talk about your story from Twitter? Let me know, because you have a great story that I want to share, but I'll only do it if you want, if I have your permission. Not,
well, you already put it on Twitter. What does it matter?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Just go with it. I know him. He'll be fine. Go with it. Roll with it. He'll be fine.
Yeah. All right. I'm just gonna go with it. But if he says no, then
he's
let me know.
He's fine, bro. Go with it.
All right. So
is that him right there?
No, he's got this great story, man. Because it really went viral, and I'm like, man, this is
let me get you the link to
listener, and I am going to go ahead and pull it up as we.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
No, I don't have it. But if you have it,
all right, I'll pull it up while you talk about it. Just give it an intro to it. Yeah, I should have brought him on the show.
I told him to come on, but he doesn't want to do it.
Okay. No, he'll be coming on soon. I talked to him already. We got a nice little story with him. We'll be getting him on. I talked to him after you talked to him.
Oh yeah,
about 20 years
here it is. Holy cow! Look how he got 1,500 likes, bro.
Yeah, 132.
Eat your heart out, Dark Dahmer. Dark Dahmer is usually the king of tweeting out, but he gives gentle reminders, so that his doesn't count. This is straight up ruthless. So Mort, why don't you recite it?
Recite what?
His story.
Oh, I thought you said you want me.
I want you to narrate, not recite it. Narrate it.
Read it.
Read it. Jeez, we were talking about the Quran earlier, so
yeah, I don't know why.
Inshallah,
No, but hold on.
nice.
He has a multiple ones. I'm finding the right one. 1 second.
No,
He
hang
has
on.
two-
I
are
do
you
have a
talking about
Jinn
the cab
story.
one?
I think you're confused. Let me read
No,
it.
are you
then.
talking about the cab one, or are you
I'm
talking
talking
about
about the cab one. The cab one is that one that went
he's got a
viral.
couple of me put up on there. Hold on, let me get the other one.
We're talking about the cab one. That one went viral more. Come on, you're ruining this show right now. People are
You're
waiting.
I'm not ruining the show. I'm looking
People
at
are
the Twitter
waiting.
feed.
The pressure is on. Clock
There's
is
no
ticking,
pressure.
and you're
Relax.
not.
Just talk to him. Just talk to him while I get this stuff going. Why you so don't pressure, man? Okay. All right, here. I have a Jinn story about 20 years ago. That's the one. All right, hold on. Now I found this one. God, Maliki tweets a lot, man. What can I do?
No, it's pinned, bro. How could you miss it?
No, I'm saying he put another story out there, dude. There's more.
I know he
What
did.
are you talking about?
This is the one with 1,500 likes, bro.
I know that, but I'm saying I'm going on his Twitter feed right now. Just chill. I'm getting it. Relax.
People are waiting, bro.
They can wait, man. They've been waiting 20 minutes for us to get on live anyways. Don't worry about it.
I was about to bang my head
Are you
against
guys
this
mad?
table.
Talk to them in the text.
I was about to bang my head against this table.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, hold on here. Honestly, I'm like looking for it, dude. He has a lot of tweets. Okay,
It's literally pinned all the way to the top. You can only pin one tweet.
Now I got it. Okay. Here we go. I do have a Jinn story. It was about 20 years ago when I used to drive a cab. So I got dispatched to an old folks' home.
Hold on, Mort.
Out
Can you
came
read it
very-
more? Like, can you read like? I do have a Jinn story.
Came a very weak old lady. So I used to play the Quran very low as I worked my shift. She got in and immediately commented, I recognize this, but it's too low. It was really weird. So I turned it up. She snarled up her lip and said, oh, the Quran. I said, yes, it is. Have you heard it before? Are you a Muslim? She said, I heard it when it was first revealed. And I always knew you would leave Christianity and become a Muslim.
Wow.
Not gonna lie, I was spooked and I took refuge with Allah. I said, you knew I would be Muslim, huh? How? She said, because I was there at your birth. First thing that crossed my mind was the shaitan pricking the son of Adam at birth. So I turned around and went to drop her back where I got her. The staff were like, what happened? Why didn't you take her where she wanted to go? I just said another car would be on the way and that the lady said weird things. The nurses looked at each other and said, this woman doesn't speak. She hasn't for decades.
Wow.
So I have a thing about this. Hold on. I actually think that this is, you know how they have like everyone is accompanied by an evil jinn and
Their own shaitan.
So yeah, it's called a qareen.
They're born with their own shaitan.
Qareen, they are, you have born a brother to a jinn essentially, right? Some of them are evil, some are not. Perhaps maybe this is one of the jinn that were like taking possession of an old lady, just kind of chitting chatting with his homeboy.
There was the jinn was occupying the old lady, and it's talking to Maliki's jinn, Maliki's qareen, the one that each one of us have, and that was my understanding when I was reading his story. I'm like, obviously her jinn doesn't know anything about him, but jinns are liars. They like to mix truth with falsehood and try to spook you, and obviously didn't like that Maliki was reciting Quran or had the Quran playing in his car, and wanted to figure out a way to make sure that it relieves that type of environment by giving him the heebie-jeebies.
I thought we were going to save these stories for Halloween.
But
we always do that, but then we never end up doing the show because you end up not wanting to do it.
What are you talking about? We did it with Abu Mujahid last year.
Yeah, but look, check this out. I'll tell you one thing, okay?
We did it with Abu Mujahid though.
Jinns love to know when you're scared. If you are scared, they take advantage of you.
They feed off of that.
Oh yeah, it's
and,
like
he had.
It's like a portal. If you guys want to know a portal to getting accessing that world, fear is a great way.
Yeah. So check
and
this
Sim
out.
knows this because are you going to talk about some of your experiences?
No, we don't want to talk about
Hold
that.
on,
We can go on.
Sim's experiences are deep, bro.
That's
how he learned about all this. Sim,
we're not going to make this a Jinn episode.
We're not going to, but I'm just saying. I'm telling the people, Mort. Hold on. Put your finger back down, son. So
where's his finger?
He was going up like this.
Oh, okay, I thought it was some other place.
So what's his name? The reason why Sim, he's not just making this up. He has a lot of interesting experiences that have happened to him, we'll say. Just so people don't think, oh, he's just shooting the breeze, he's making this up. Oh, no.
I'm a murid of some exorcist, let's just say. Mashallah. I have a few ijazas.
Yo, I remember, hold on, real quickly, sorry, this is just a side moment here. Do you guys remember Clover Creek?
Yeah.
Clover Creek.
Oh, my God. Well, we'll talk about that at a different time.
I lived there before.
Yeah,
we have a lot of stories about Clover Creek, bro. Clover Creek, for those who don't know, is these apartment complexes that are in the suburbs of Chicago. They're known for incredible hauntings. It happened to so many people that the cops. Put it this way, hold on. The cops are like incredibly pissed off when people just call them from there.
No, but wait a minute. Hold on. When we say hauntings, they say like Muslim people might report stuff, right? No, there have been police officers that have been dispatched there that have said this has happened numerous times. And we've heard other people, even non-Muslims, complain about stuff like this, right? And so I remember there was a woman, police officer, who said that like they met someone at Kmart later on, and she said this story to her that, yeah, you're not the first people to call in about these kind of things. Like there are even other, people like non-Muslims that call in their units about things like this. So it's definitely something going on over there. But anyways, Jinn stories can be fun, I guess. I mean, as long as you know not to let it cause fear inside of you. That's the number one thing. Never fear something. They are a creation of Allah, and Allah has given you a way to protect yourself from them.
Recite Ayatul Kursi. That's a promise. It's like a weapon. You're giving your angel. You have an angel that's accompanying you, and when you recite Ayatul Kursi, you're giving that angel a weapon to fight against any kind of attack or anything type of sleep, paralysis or any type of supernatural encounter that you have. If you do struggle with that, or if you know someone who's struggling with that, is undeniable. When you do recite your goals and recite the Ayatul Kursi, those events don't happen to you.
Yeah, and even if they do, you have to remember everything happens with the permission of Allah, right? If it happens, it happens.
It happens. If it happens, you might have some doubt in your heart. We should explore this.
Yeah, but you know what?
If it still happens,
I've
maybe
had it happen to me, bro. And I just woke up mad as hell. And I was like, yo, I heard things whispering in my ear.
I remember that. Mort got up and started screaming.
You know how when somebody's whispering in your ear and you can feel the heat of their voice?
Mm-hmm.
I felt that like by multiple things around my ears, like and it whispering in a language I had no idea. It sounded like some kind of like Semitic language, but I had no idea what they were saying. I had no idea what it was.
Dude, we might as well make this a Jinn episode, bro. This is getting deep, bro.
I'm just saying that you can't. When I woke up, all I'm saying is I was mad to the point where I punched the wall.
I remember you were screaming. I remember you were yelling. You told me that the next day.
Yeah, and I'm saying ever since that day, though, I never got bothered. I mean, jinns, all I'm saying is don't let them. Remember, they are a creation of Allah, just like you are. And Allah has given you abilities to control them or ward them off, basically, with the Quran. So don't fear them. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, it's part of life. They're there. They exist. You may not see them. They may be around you right now. But you have control over them. Simple. Who cares?
What else do we have on our plate? One of the listeners was asking, Sheikh, what do you think about the
2020 elections?
Our friend Khabib. A lot of people are saying some bad things about him because he's.
Can you just stop talking the accent? You're throwing me off, bro.
Well, what they were saying is that Khabib is actually meeting Vladimir Putin, and it is really upsetting them because they feel that he shouldn't be meeting a dictator. And I think it's worth commenting because a lot of people are really upset about Khabib actually meeting dictators and tyrants. So,
well, it's more than just meeting dictators. Sim, let's be honest, right? There's actually videos of him training Russian forces. Not just once, a couple times, and I think it is a legitimate criticism. Right? If you're gonna, all I'm saying is that, but I will reserve my judgment because Russia is a totally different kind of animal. Right? And things are not the way they are in the UK, and they're not the way they are in the United States of America. Keep in mind, you're talking about a guy who was part of the KGB in the Kremlin for decades, and he's now running your country, and he makes people disappear. Right? And he makes people's families disappear, right? So there's a very big difference in how you deal with a Russian thug versus how you deal with your parliament members and your senators, right, and your presidents and your prime ministers, right? Very big differences. Keep that in mind when you criticize them.
You know, he thinks he's doing something for the people of people of Dagestan and people of Chechnya have been almost like, you know, kept under control, even as far as numbers have been concerned. Chechnya, they try to keep it under like a whatever million it is. When they start exceeding, they just start killing them.
So for people who don't understand, this whole area of the world is called the Caucasus region. There's Chechnya, there's Ingushetia, there's Dagestan. These are all region of the world called the Caucasus. Okay, and this is a place that has been under a civil war, part of the Russia's civil war for the past. Started around the 90s, I would say, when it was really escalated, and they were making a lot of. They were giving the Russians a really hard time, and there were many great commanders that came from those units. There were Shamil Basiev, Khattab, and them. They all drove out the Russians from Dagestan, and the problem is that Russia just did not give up, and they kept on hammering them, and eventually they did assassinations where they ended up poisoning the leader of there was the Arab faction in that region that was led by a commander named Amir Khattab, and then there was the head of the Caucasus people, and his name was Shamil Basiev, named himself after the famous Imam Shamil of the Caucasus, if anyone knows
it's a
their
common
history.
name in Dagestan and Chechnya too. Yeah.
So they first poisoned Khattab through a poisoned letter, something that had a neurotoxin laced with it, and the messenger, he was someone who the KGB flipped, who delivered that poison letter to Khattab, and the Imam Shamil, he went and he found that guy who poisoned Khattab, and he took retribution on him. He fled to another country or whatever, and
Shamil Basiev.
He was able to get that messenger courier or whatever and take his revenge. He ended up passing away a few years later in the mid 2000s, I would say, due to they're not sure yet. They think that it might have been a remote controlled explosive, or it was some kind of weapons shipment that was rigged with some kind of explosive device, but he was killed that way. And so after the mid 2000s, they eventually, after they killed all the leaders of the rebellion in that region, they put puppet regimes in place led by Ramadan Kadyrov and others, and they have a very tight grip in that region of the world. These are the Russians. They don't mess around. This is not the red, white, and blue America that you're thinking of. That they're going to make sure that they're going to warm them up and make them feel like they're part of the country. They have they live under tanks and stuff. If you've seen any of the footage where Khabib is actually in Dagestan, you'll see Russian vehicles, like military vehicles, passing behind him and stuff. It's a whole other world. I don't think anyone in the West, or anyone in the world for that matter, can comment on the kind of pressure that's on him, because everyone in their hearts knows in that region what the Russians did to them. And for him to go and face that filthy pig, Vladimir Putin.
And you could tell with that meeting that Vladimir Putin was trying really hard to keep a smile and trying to be nice to him.
Yeah.
It was, you could see how fake it was.
They know what happens. If he doesn't do it and he insults their ruler, it's not just him who suffers. You think Khabib is just thinking about him, that if he ends up insulting those people that it's just him, it's his 5 kids, relatives, everyone gets destroyed.
All of Dagestan,
guys, their whole town is their family members.
So I don't care who he trained. I don't care if he trained the FSB, whatever. He has to do what he has to do to survive. And I think anyone who has an ounce of intelligence would understand the horrible situation that the Muslims over there are. They're under occupation.
I don't think it's about intelligence. I think it's just that forgetting about how how vastly different our living situations are.
No,
compared to
no, and it's not just that. More, there's a whole different like prism. People have forgotten what the past 20 years were like. I'm hearing like crap about the Syrian people not knowing or starting the war, or the Egyptian people starting the war. These were people who all started with protests. Okay, these were not violent
Peaceful
protests. These were not people who took arms against their government. Okay, these are people who were protesting peacefully. Okay, and this is the kind of crap that we're continuously seeing, a rewrite of history, because people don't want to, stick to some whatever story they have in their mind. They want to fit the facts in the way that they want it to, and it's really upsetting me, because if you're going to be armed, if you want to do political analysis, you want to enter that political game, go right ahead, but make sure you do your research and come prepared, because you'll end up looking silly if you start, throwing up any article that fits in with your paradigm or the lens that you want to show to the world, because it's
Simba,
horribly.
Why don't you put up the live chat? There's a good question here in the thing.
Yeah.
So the J. Perez asked a question, and it says, "What theological issues do you see with the Muslims in the West that are in dire need of addressing? Some say there seems to be much more anthropomorphism because of the English translations." Look, I've seen people make the accusations of people being like, being mujassima, like being like, anthropomorphist. The reality here is this, okay?
Wait, what's mujassima?
Anthropomorphism.
Oh, okay.
Anthropomorphism, right? The reality is any scholar, whether you're on the Athari side or the Ash'ari side, whatever you want to believe in, I don't believe anyone's intention is to actually make Allah like creation.
Yeah.
Right? That's what everybody needs to understand right away. People who engage in this kind of discussion and say, "Oh, you're an anthropomorphist," right? They're really lacking the actual the substance of the argument, right? Both parties at the end of the day believe that Allah is one and laysa kamithlihi shay. Right? Everybody affirms that verse in the Quran, that there's nothing like unto Allah.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe Sheikh Amr can explain on this more, but all I'm saying is don't get caught up in that hype of saying that person is the mujassima.
But are these conversations still happening? I felt they kind of died down.
No, it's happening because of Jordan Peterson and Sam Harris. And then
that,
a lot of the atheist movements, so what they've said is that a lot of our characteristics are from our ancient monkey bodies or our lizard brains or whatever that they ascribe our
lobster personalities, right? No, not only that, there has been a video floating around where somebody's quoting a Maliki scholar who's responding to the question of where is Allah, or where if Allah does not have a direction, and then they're addressing people saying the other side is they're mujassima, right? And so this is kind of floating around on Twitter and stuff like that. And all I'm trying to say is that, remember, these kinds of debates have been going on for centuries. You're not going to solve it on Twitter, and you're not going to be accurate if you start name calling each other, right? Yeah. It's not going to work that way. Remember, both of these camps, both of these people, always say Allah is one, and they say that they take the ayah in the Quran literally when it says "Laysa kamithlihi shay." He's not like unto anything. Anyways, Amr, you can maybe go ahead and.
No, man. I mean, you said it well. I just always thought of these arguments were usually they were meant for people who were specialized in the ummah that took philosophy head on, and they basically wore the shield of the people to protect them from doubts. But then you have the layperson that reads a few of these ideas and they start beating people over the head with it. That's always going to end up bad. People, like you said it beautifully, dude. This has been going on for centuries, and there's no way you're going to solve this on Twitter. People just use it. I always saw it as people using it kind of just like as ammunition to have a voice and to get some type of validation and argue and online or whatever the case is.
No, you're right. And I've noticed that early on, being involved in these scenes, that sometimes somebody will discredit something completely different about somebody else based on the fact that that person believes such and such, and so automatically everything else is discredited from them.
Cancel culture.
Yeah.
What was that?
That's what Sim was talking about, cancel culture. Yeah, but anyways.
Yeah, maybe it could be. I mean, essentially, it is the idea that he says one thing, and then because of that statement, they differ on where, by the way, there is valid difference of opinion in this, right?
Yeah.
It's not been going on, but based on that, everything else that man says or the scholar says is therefore rendered null or insignificant, right? Because of a difference of opinion. And that's not how people have always, how scholars of Islam or students of these scholars studied Islam, right? They didn't just cancel people out. They had differences of opinion. They still benefited from each other, right?
Of course.
And so I think that you're right. A lot of people use this as a way to discredit somebody else. Say, I'm not going to listen to that scholar because he belongs to X and Y or whatever X group, and I no longer have to listen to him anymore because he has that. And that's kind of like a scapegoat to say, you know what, we're done.
Yeah. Yeah, man. When he was asking about the theological question, I thought he was talking about things that are, I guess I didn't read the whole thing, but what do we think theologically is, going to be something that we should give importance or priority to, like now, as far as people's belief is concerned, and what their relationship with Allah is, and just basically the coming generation.
A lot of this also ties into the nature of consciousness. A lot of people are trying to figure out what is composed of human consciousness, because it's not just about the ability to understand who we are and what our purpose is and our purpose in the world and all that, but it also has to do with, can we duplicate it? Okay,
consciousness.
Can we duplicate consciousness? Can we create it? Can we make an AI that is 1-to-1 or even far superior than human consciousness? Can this consciousness improve our quality of life if it is acting with on a supercomputer? Maybe it can do things that would take us much more longer.
Yeah.
So this is the big dilemma that a lot of philosophers, scientists and stuff. So the problem with consciousness is that
no, I mean, what is specifically your issue? I mean, do you have an issue with the fact that perhaps potentially we could have AI that mimics our own consciousness?
I don't think it can, though, Mort. It's the thing is there's a whole branch of philosophy called or a branch of thought called materialism, that everything you see in the world is what it is. It is what it is. If consciousness exists, it can be duplicated, utilizing the same components, the building blocks, the Legos that you have in front of you. You will be able. They completely ignored this metaphysical element of nature.
Yeah.
So they say
Plus
that
AI can't have a ruh.
So they say that everything can be duplicated, and it will be eventually. But I think, does that contradict our faith? If by saying that the human consciousness can be duplicated, are we entering into an area of kufr? Is something that we need to consider, because I think I would encourage a lot of Muslims to be careful when you enter in that territory by saying that, oh yeah, that's completely within our faith, that we can duplicate human consciousness, because this is something that you, first of all, you don't know much about. You haven't done a lot of the work that so many scientists have done over the years, trying to figure out whether consciousness can be even duplicated. Because even in the scientific community, you'll hear Elon Musk or whatever, some big names talking about how they fear human consciousness will be duplicated. He's among the very small but very vocal people. There's majority of the scientific community, or a very large part of it, says that human consciousness cannot be duplicated. There's just too many variables. There's too many different types of reasoning and analytical abilities that humans have that cannot, given our current understanding of human psychology, we cannot duplicate it.
Right. So first of all, the problem with this is that people even define what is consciousness. They define this differently depending on who you're going to ask in the scientific community. But the way I understand consciousness is that this is your complete experience as a human being. right?
Right.
Your memories, your experiences, all of these things collectively. Like for example, if you were to crave something like chocolate, right? That's sensory that you have with chocolate, right? It can be good or bad depending on what your experience as a human being, right? You understand, you process things differently based on your tangible senses, and then there's a psychological element. Then there's memories that you have. There's sentimental value, right? There's things like, for example, if a toothache, the pain of a toothache, right?
In a nutshell, more it's called awareness. Being aware of your
I
reality,
believe
your
it's just more than-
existence, your
Well, it's more than
existence,
just
your
awareness.
nature, your relationship with the world around you, and your ability to utilize historical knowledge to make decisions and so forth. So we can go on forever trying to define consciousness. It's a very broad subject.
So what I'm saying is that basically it's everything you experience. That's why I put everything that you experience together effectively becomes your consciousness, right? That's all relevant to you as an individual, and everybody's experiences are different from person to person. Now, do I feel that consciousness can be duplicated 1-to-1, 1-to-2? I'm not sure, but can we come close to it as a collection of your memories and your experiences? Sure, I believe we can come pretty close to that. And is that a bad thing? It may not be. It may be something that helps you make more informed decisions in times when you are maybe less or you don't have the ability in that moment because of stress or other things to make informed decisions. Is it ever going to replace human consciousness? Are we going to replace human beings and substitute it with these things? No. But I believe with the studies in consciousness and perhaps having AI learn by manually inputting, I'm not saying we can automatically extract these things. There would have to be some kind of manual input, or some ideas like this would have to incorporate within AI. But that could help people with, for example, Alzheimer's or trauma victims to the head, or there are a lot of ways where we can kind of incorporate it. I don't think it's somehow going to replace the human experience, right? You cannot duplicate what human beings have experienced. There's a certain, and you know what? We also believe in something that they may not have, they don't have it, they have not proved yet, or they believe in. But I believe the soul has something to do with your consciousness as well too, as a Muslim.
Yeah,
like, we know that there are meetings of souls that happen, right? And that affects when you have dreams sometimes, right? There are meetings of souls together that people don't, they can't explain.
Yeah.
Right? They can't explain anything, but this is a consciousness for us.
And that's why I would say
Ghazali talks about this in his Ihya. I mean, Sheikh, you could talk about it a little bit better than I can, but he defines the different components of who we are: the aql and the nafs, and the ruh, and then.
And the different types of souls and different.
So he really breaks all this down, but we can completely go in another trajectory related to this for the next half an hour. But
it would end up being a realm, yes.
So, well, in a nutshell, for anyone who wants to know, I think we can't say for sure that because insan is not just consciousness, right?
No.
It's much more than that.
Yeah,
insan is the biological being of what Adam alayhi salam and Hawa were. They were. These are
insan is Bani Adam.
Right? It's not just a mind, okay? So if someone does duplicate consciousness, are they quote unquote being God, playing God?
Yeah.
I don't know if they are 100% because they haven't created insan in its fully biological form. Even if they do create a self-aware AI that is mimicking human consciousness, which I
all
think
it is mimicking, is binarily mimicking, right? Like, for instance, it's going to be mimicking, which makes it very, very. Look, this is I think a very easy way to explain it. The reason why we are so amazed with technology is because the closer it gets to acting how a human being acts, the more impressed we are by it. That's why people, I think, generally love dogs, is because not only are they very subservient and obedient, but the smarter the dog acts, the more relatively closer it is to the human being to us, right? And same thing, I think, with technology. The more it does for us, the more closer we see it as a human being. Like, hey, that seems like something a human being would do. So that's why we're kind of intrigued with it. But as far as it, just because it could binarily mimic what the human being does, it still doesn't mean that it has consciousness, right? Because consciousness is a whole different thing. And obviously, the ruh has some, strings attached to consciousness. As far as our awareness of Allah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks in the alam of the arwah, asks the ruhs, you know, do you accept me as your creator, and are you going to take the responsibility of, you know, propagating me as your creator? We accepted it, right? And Allah mentions that in the Quran, that we gave the responsibility to, you know, the mountains and the heavens, and they all refuse except for the human beings, right? Meaning the ruh at the time. And so that's something that they're never going to be able to mimic. That element they're never ever going to be able to mimic. And you have to remember, all of this is coming back, and correct me if I'm wrong, backed up and using foundational as evolutionary science, and people who actually believe, these are people who don't really believe in God, are they? That are
some do, some don't, but
they're promoting
here's
all
the
this.
thing, Amir, though, there's another element that Muslims need to consider. On the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, right, you're going to be brought up and you're going to be remembering things that you did.
Yeah.
That is an element of consciousness attached to your soul.
Yeah.
That's not in your body anymore. I mean, yeah, sure, you raised as a body, but that's something you're taking to the next world.
Yeah. Body's
it's
no longer
beyond
there.
just this dunya, right? And even people in hellfire will remember what they used to do.
Yeah.
Right? And so this is a conscious reminder of what they've done. So this is something beyond just the physical.
Yeah.
Right? This is something that we believe is metaphysical.
Yeah, of
right?
course.
It goes with you in the next life.
Yeah.
And so I think science will never be able to duplicate it, because they're looking at it from in a binary fashion, that, hey, it's only related to you while you're alive here.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, not just that, they're looking at it from a materialist perspective.
Exactly.
That these things are completely duplicate things that can be duplicated, because everything we see in the world is a bunch of Legos, and we can
record we can record memories, we can have videos. It's just like the human being. If you have a hyper
the audacity of these people, Sheikh Hammer, is because it really upsets me, because they haven't even figured out how the transmission between the spinal cord happens from one part of the body to another. When spinal cord injuries happen, they still haven't been able to fuse that transmission. So like the audacity of these people to start. They haven't even figured out a cure for baldness. I want my freaking hair, dude.
No,
where's that hair coming?
Forget it.
I want my hair, bro. They've been talking about it for 15 years.
That's why the world is so weak, man.
Wait a minute.
The audacity of these scientists to start talking about this is
come on. Wait a minute. Slow down. I wouldn't say audacity. Listen.
Whoa. The hubris. How about that? You know what hubris means?
No, wait 1 second. Listen. These guys are scientists. They research, right? This is just an extension of medical technology or furthering human technology, right? I mean, for example, we're able to use skin grafts and stem cell to regraft burn victims without taking the regular skin, right? I'm sure their intention is not to say, it may not be, Allahu Alam, but to research that the side of human beings, the psychological side of human beings, I don't believe it's a bad thing.
No, it's not. What he's saying, what Sim is saying, there's people out there, especially atheists, they'll utilize that and say, look, we're doing the same thing. And he's not saying all the people, because some people genuinely love what they're doing, and they get full of humility when they're doing it. That's for sure. I think that's what you're talking about, Mort. What Sim is talking about is...
I mean, it could be pure profit. It could be.
We're not talking about the individual person. I'm talking about the audacity to actually... put out these propositions or these predictions that we're going to figure this out by X, Y, and Z. You've been saying so many.
You can see the audacity because they have no idea what they don't even know the purpose of their life, dude.
It's much more than that, man. It's I think they even on a strictly materials perspective, there's so much that they haven't figured out yet related to just human biology. That they're getting way ahead of themselves. Like this guy Elon Musk, he's talking about going to Mars and stuff like that. They haven't even figured out the basics of, even if you were able to launch a jet to Mars and land over there, well, what then? What would you do then? How would you start growing crop over there? How would you start making sure that there's water that's there's so many different variables that.
Though, right, Sim? I mean,
no, I'm not saying no, don't. But I'm saying
push the boundaries.
But what I'm saying is they haven't even figured out the small problems that are right in front of them. The issues related to the ozone layer, the global warming. They think like they're way ahead of themselves.
Wait a minute. Any inventor will tell you, well, you got to dream big or you don't dream at all. Go home and go home. You know what I mean? Like I mean, they have to set these things.
We're talking on two different levels more. I'm talking about how knowledge is transferred in the world through the beginning of humanity. Knowledge builds on top of itself, right? You make steps towards bigger and better things, right?
Now, let me ask you something. Wait, let me ask you something. Let's say I told you 50 years ago that, you know what, you wouldn't have to go read books anymore, and I'm going to create this whole network of people and a whole network of books that will all be summed up on pages on these virtual pages.
I would say you're absolutely insane because I haven't seen any single thing, any steps related to that. But let's just say 50 years, you used 50 years ago, right? So let's say if I skip 10 years later, I'm like, or 20 years or whatever, and I landed myself in the late 90s or early 80s or whatever, whenever computers start, then I'm like, maybe, you know what? That's a possibility. When the basic building blocks aren't there, that's when I get upset. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the necessary steps haven't taken place. They don't understand some of the basic elements of human biology, and they're trying to say like, we can do this and this and this. Like, we can duplicate human beings, or we can create things from scratch. They're just way too ahead of themselves, and that's.
I mean, I get it, but I mean, at the same time, you have to understand where they're coming from too. Like, they were able to regrow a human ear on a rat, right? And that's pretty impressive, right? I mean, if you're thinking about what's happening,
there's fantastic things happening with things related to CRISPR technology and gene editing. I'm fully aware of that. Yeah, I'm not ignoring that.
They may be getting ahead of themselves, right? I get that. But I think that's part of that that innovative culture in America or in the world in general, that, hey, we're going to hit that mark, And I get what you're saying. It may be a bit of sci-fi. Like, we've heard many things in the past, right? Like, we're still waiting for hoverboards. Back in the future, we haven't gotten those yet. We were supposed to have them by 2012 or something like that, 2002. But anyways, the point, I get what you're saying. I get it. And I don't, and I just feel like I just want to be careful and not say, hey, it's like, I don't know if they're trying to replace God or make you unbelievers by doing this, right? It's just something like where they're just maybe aiming too high.
I'm not saying that they're trying to replace God or anything. I think most of the scientific community are actually theists. There are people who do believe in a creator. I'm not even saying that. I'm just talking about the inherent arrogance or hubris of theirs, just to say that, we'll have AI in 10, 20 years. It's like, no, you won't. You're not even close to AI, and you don't even understand the basics. Look at Boston Dynamics. Have you ever seen Boston Dynamics?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Boston Dynamics is trying to make a robot that is able to do a lot of things that human beings can.
But their dog robot's pretty cool, though.
Their robots, they've made some incredible.
The response of that dog, or whatever the leopard it was, whatever it was.
Yeah, let me go.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and show the listeners.
So responsive, like I've never seen anything like that. Usually, it totally.
But can it run without those cords? The last time I saw it running on the treadmills was connected to cords.
No. It needs cords. It doesn't run automatically like that. It has to be connected to some kind of power source.
No, but its balance is that what's holding it up too? Is the cords or no?
No. That's just a power source.
Oh, okay.
Everything else is based on sensors and hydraulics and stuff.
So it's balancing and running without any help.
Everything by itself. Yeah, by that. That's not anything holding it up. That's its own legs and everything.
Yeah. So here.
Really, I didn't know that.
That's why it's amazing.
Which one are you talking about? The one with the dog?
Yeah, I think it's a dog one, right? It's doing like things like treadmills and jumping over things and stuff like that.
Hang on, I'll just show them. Parkour Atlas one. Here we go.
Parkour Atlas.
Yeah, I was to him. I saw your Twitter on that. You were in a park. A little
That's pretty cool, man.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff that Boston. Me and my son go through a lot of these videos.
That's pretty cool, man.
All we're saying is that the mobility of these robots they have now is much different than you would think, right? They're not like these 2D motion robots, right? They're actually doing crazy things where they can jump over things.
Awesome Boston Dynamics robot right there.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Now these things would make like great soldiers, right? That'd be crazy, right? Instead of using human lives. to
Yeah,
fight for you.
that's what I was telling my son.
So cool, man.
That's pretty cool.
Maybe now Muslims get dogs now, right? Because they're not
Yeah.
really real dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, check this thing out. It like launches itself up onto a roof.
Oh yeah.
Now imagine like some kind of weapon, some school shootings happening, and you launch like a weapon up there and just blow
Yeah.
blow that guy to bits. You know. This
Can you imagine
This is
one
a
of those
pretty
things
long
coming
clip, so I'm
after
gonna
you?
go ahead
Like,
and.
No, can you imagine the police officer like deploying one of those things after you? I'd be freaked out. Like, oh my god, what is that four-legged thing come? Oh my god.
Yeah, so I mean, there's plenty of uses for this stuff. It's
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
incredibly fascinating. Now pair this with AI,
Yeah.
then you have what's it called? You have Terminator
District
2. You have Terminator 2 happening.
Yeah, I mean the thing is like
Cyberdyne
the
becomes
thing is-
self-aware.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's definitely use for these kind of things, right? And I definitely understand that. I think, see, the problem with AI is that it still needs as much data as we have. We still need much more data, and to make it a complete, like truly AI experience. And then it has to be continually updated. What that means is, virtually all of us would have to be like constantly hooked up with these nodes that would download and process information about our daily lives and our activities and our, and be able to sort all that out.
More.
Very
Did you ever think?
process.
Did you ever consider what or why human beings are inclined to tell the truth? Why is it so difficult that for us to say
not to tell the truth?
to not to tell the truth? Why is it such a pain in the butt for human beings? And this is something that has rattled psychologists and people involved in neuroscience for a long time. Why are human beings why do they have so much difficulty in lying? Why is it that they
you
can't
have to
just
get
hide?
used to lying, but still you have to
No,
put on
even-
a poker face, and
Yeah.
it's a difficult thing. Raise your blood pressure, it does all that stuff.
Yeah, there's so many different, like, if you read this book called Spy the Lie, it's a fantastic book.
Spy the
What-
Lie.
what I think
Spy the
is
Lie
that-
is a book that was written by an ex-CIA officer who was involved with doing a lot of interrogations for many different people.
Do you have that book with you?
I do, but I spilled water on it, so
You're just saying that because you don't want to lend it to me.
I don't want to lend it to you. Even if I did, I wouldn't lend it to you.
What I think is that look,
Sorry.
when
What a
you're
friend.
when you're being asked a question, right, and you're being, it's when you have to lie. What happens is that your body psychologically becomes conscious about whether you're telling the truth, whether somebody else can determine whether you're telling the truth or not, right? And there's, part of that is also to do with how your mind processes that, like the fact that your mind knows something, but you're trying to convince yourself of something. Because to tell a lie, you have to convince yourself of something else, not even of that lie, but convince yourself that somebody else is going to believe you and you won't get caught, right? So there's a backward process. It's an illogical process in your mind.
Yeah.
You're doing it because you think you're being logical, but it's against your nature, right? Because you know that internally, hey, look, I have to believe or put my faith into something which I don't know, right? If I tell the truth, I don't have to put my faith in anything. I'm telling the truth, right? When I'm telling a lie, I have to put my faith in the fact that I trust myself to say this, and that someone's not going to figure it out, that I'm not going to be outed.
Yep.
There's a degree of uncertainty when you're telling a lie. When you're telling the truth, there's no uncertainty, right? What can someone say? No, you're not telling the truth. Yeah, I am. You don't feel any problem with it, right?
So
But when telling
this
a lie-
inherent notion for human beings, this inherent ability for human beings, this proclivity for us to always want to tell the truth, that is a problem in itself. How would an AI, how would a robot deal with that problem, how would it not just completely manipulate you and use you for whatever gains or advantages that it wants?
And also how to say the truth. Not only how to be telling the truth, but how do we say it? There's many ways to say the truth, right? We can be completely blunt, honest. I mean, there's so many ways that human beings effectively communicate that, right?
Yep.
Will AI be able to understand that emotional empathy behind it? Will they be able to understand what I mean, over years of, for example, I know how to tell Amr the truth about something because of my years of relationships with him, and I can tell Sim a completely different way, right?
Yeah.
Because of that's consciousness, right? I am able to, my experiences dictate to me how I would say something to Amr versus how I would say something.
Emotional intelligence, son.
How will it figure out whether if you are a problem, whether you should be eliminated or not? Like a human being, like has so much reasoning before it decides whether murder is an option, right?
Yeah.
And it's a quite a intensive process that the human being has to do. Whether
have you seen this show?
Yeah.
Person of Interest.
I've heard about it. I haven't seen it.
It's about like this guy who creates this massive AI machine that all it does is it monitors all day long what the government does, and it identifies a potential threat.
Yeah.
And then it eliminates it. But the problem is that there's so many people that get passed on that it decides are not worth saving, or that whatever. So this guy who invents the machine takes these numbers. The machine generates numbers, and he hires this assassin who goes and rights these wrongs. But the idea is that the machine then has to determine what is worth saving and what is not worth saving, right? And this kind of discussion came also about AI in cars, right? Do you swerve out of the way, or do you hit the passenger? Like, what's the optimal situation in terms of the AI, right? Does it consider your well-being or the human or the other pedestrian's well-being first? Yeah. Right? A human being's natural response is to probably avoid hitting the human being at any cost, no matter what happens to him, right? Many people, as a matter of fact, get into an accident and hurt themselves because they're trying to avoid hitting somebody else, right? But the AI might be like, hey, you know what? If I swerve to the left, I might jump off the bridge and you're going to die. You know what I mean?
All right, guys. We are way over our time. I was imagining this to be just an hour, but let's go ahead and wrap this baby up. Help us out on patreon.com/themadbumlukes. Those of you who use PayPal, you can help us out on themadbumlukes.com/donate. Do us a solid and help us out. Anyway, do you have any closing thoughts, Sheikh?
Not at all.
Abu Ala Baghdadi?
Actually, I do. Shafat. Oh, Ala Baghdadi. Gonna get me in trouble for no reason. Brother, Jazakallah khairan for this, man. I really appreciate it.
I think there's fight night tomorrow.
This is hey Mort, I'm giving Shafat a shout out, bro.
Yeah.
So may Allah reward you, and we're gonna keep you in our doors, brother. That's for sure.
Shafat, much love.
What a gentleman, dude.
He's a sweetheart, bro.
You didn't have to do this, bro.
He's just amazing. I love him. Just so many.
Hold on.
The best part about doing this podcast is meeting amazing people from all over the world. Lastly, bros.
Wait.
Yeah.
Sim, wait a minute.
The bitch and kick
Wait,
this is unfair.
Sheikh, he needs to talk. Let him talk.
Wait, before we end the show, you gotta stand up, Amir, and put that fanny pack on for Shafat. You can't just let it go.
I don't know about that, bro.
On.
So if he didn't give me this, then if that's the only gift he gave to make him happy, I would put it on. But now I know that was a joke, and this is real. But I will wear this once.
Hopefully,
I will wear it once,
and
you guys can take a picture of it, and you guys can put it on our webpage.
No, we you are our saving grace for Izzah and credibility, because Mort just made fun of us, or kind of upset
He'll be
someone.
the cool imam, right? I mean, he'll be relatable, right?
Who are you upset?
He took a dig at a scholar earlier.
Is there anything inside of that thing? Did he put any flowers in there or anything?
We're just trying to repair relationships, and he goes on and yapping. All right.
So you gotta love
we'll talk to y'all later. Fi amanillah and all that good stuff. We'll see you later. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Fi amanillah.
Do people still say Fi amanillah? I never heard them say that.
I think it's so loud.
I know.
It's okay. They can listen.
Oh, wow.
They can listen to behind the scenes.
200 rupees.
200 rupees.
Subscribe to Muzzy Buzz. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Zakir Naik's student was here at IFS. And I told him to come on the Mad Looks, but he's leaving today.